Oh, Kenneth, so we will do a couple of those division questions there from question number 8 there on page 327 for you. Let me just pop open my blackboard here for you. Okay, so they're division. So the first thing is when you're working with division, you got to flip it over. Okay, so let's go ahead and do the first one here and see how that works out, all right? Okay, so first thing we're going to do here is we're going to just hang on. I'll just put you on pause here, and I'll be right back with you. Hey, sorry about that. McKenna just had my grade 5 and 6 come in. So let's go and do the first one together here and see if what we get, and maybe how it's working out. Okay, so the first one there looks like this. We got 2w squared, oops, wrong thing. There we go. 2w squared minus w minus 6. So that's a decomposition one. That's going to be over 3w plus 6. And then we're going to divide out 2w plus 3. And here we're going to have w plus 2. Okay, so the first thing that we always have to do is take this, and we have to basically factor everything. This I'm not going to flip over yet, okay? So factoring this is decomposition. So I'm going to do that here underneath in blue so that we can see what we're going on. So that we've got two numbers that are going to multiply to 12, negative 12, and they're going to add to negative 1. So we're going to decompose that. So two numbers that multiply to negative 12 and add to negative 1, that's going to be 4 and 3, negative 4 and 3. So I'm going to go 2w squared minus 4w plus 3w. That's my decomposition for the two numbers that they're going to add to negative 1 and multiply to negative 12 minus 6. So then when I decompose it, I got to take out a 2w from the first two and get w minus 2. Then I got to take out a 3 here and get w minus 2. So when I factor this, I get 2w plus 3 times w minus 2. So that's our top factor. So we're going to use that on top now. So I'm going to go back to black here, and I'm going to use that as our top factor. Okay, so here we have 2w plus 3 times w minus 2 on the top for that one factor for this here. Then we're going to take this and we're going to take out a 3 from both of these. So 3 out of that one becomes w plus 2. Okay, so we end up getting 3 times w plus 2 on the bottom. Okay, now we're going to divide. So now we're going to flip this over. So I'm going to multiply by w plus 2 on top. So that bottom comes to the top. And this 2w plus 3. Now, if they're asking for restrictions, all the restrictions are everything on the bottom plus whatever's on the top of the dividing fraction. So w can't be this negative 2. It can't be a negative 2 here, and it can't be, if you solve this, move the 3 over and divide by 2, it can't be negative 3 over 2 either. Okay, so now that we've got it to this point, we just cancel this one out. And this one out. And you get w minus 2 over 3. Okay? So that's what that first one should look like. Okay, we'll do also, let's do C, because that one looks fairly difficult. And I'll leave B for you to try and see what you get. So hopefully that one works out with you. Let me know if it's still confusing for you. Okay, we'll try C as well. So, oh, clippers, yes. Right there. Okay, so in C, it's a little more challenging. It's 9x squared minus 1 plus, over x plus 5. And we have divided by 3x squared minus 5x minus 2. Now I can see why you're going to have trouble here because they got this 2 minus x, which has that trick in it for the negative 1 factor. So let's move this up so we can see it better. Okay, so we're going to factor. This is going to be a decomposition again. So I'm going to decompose this one here first in blue again before I get started into too much stuff. Okay, so two numbers that multiply to negative 6 and add to negative 5. So that's going to be negative 6 and positive 1. Okay? So I'm going to decompose this negative 5 into negative 6 and positive 1. What do you guys need? Nothing? Okay. So let's go ahead and do that. 3x squared minus 6x plus 1x minus 2, or just x if you like. Okay, then we can take a common factor of 3x out here. X minus 2. And then this one is going to be the same, so we're going to just take out the 1 and get x minus 2. So that is 3x plus 1 times x minus 2. Okay, so that's our decomposition on top. Now you see that this is not an x minus 2, but if we take and factor this bottom out by taking negative 1 out, it becomes negative 2 plus x. And if we rearrange that, negative 1, x minus 2. So we're also going to factor that one with a negative 1 just so that it's the same as this over here. Okay, so let's do our factoring now, write it out. Okay, so let's move this down so we can see a little better. Okay, so now this is a difference of squares. So it's the square root of the first minus the square root of the second times the square root of the first plus the square root of the second. So 3x squared is square, or 3x, not x squared, pardon me. We have to take the square root of it. So square root of x squared is x. Square root of 9 is 3. Square root of 1 is still 1. So we have plus 1 and minus 1. Difference of squares. Okay, x plus 5 stays on the bottom. Okay, notice I haven't flipped it over yet. So now that I've got this factor here, I'm going to flip it over. I'm going to go times. So this negative 1 times x minus 2 is going to go on top. And this is all. Actually, you know what I'm going to do here is I'm going to move this down a little bit more so that we don't get confused here. Let's move it down so that we don't get confused with this stuff. All right, there we go. All right, so back where we had that for the factoring that we had before. And then on the bottom, we had the x plus 5. Yep. Okay, divided by, we're going to flip it over now. We're going to go multiply. So the top is, this is going to go on top. So this will become our top. And this will become our bottom right here. So our top becomes, and our bottom becomes, Okay, so now what can we cancel out? We can take out one of these x plus 3's, 3x plus 1's, I mean, pardon me. And then this was a little bit tricky in that you have to use a -1 factor. We can cancel out. So this becomes -1 times 3x minus 1 and x plus 5. And that's your final answer there. For restrictions, it would be everything on the bottom plus this one on top as well. So x cannot be 2, x cannot be -1/3, and x cannot be -5. Okay, those are two of them. Hopefully that helps you out a little bit. I'll send this off to you, and maybe the book writes it in a bit different way. I'm not sure, but that's the general idea. Okay, so I'm going to send this off to you, and hopefully that'll get you through. Let me know if it does. If it doesn't, if you're still stumbling, maybe we can look at some other ones to help you out. Okay, good luck.